Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalptarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajanabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangre. So today is a very special day, the disappearance day of His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. One day Srila Prabhupada was in Los Angeles. That day it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance day. At the noon, Srila Prabhupada asked, "Where is the feast for my Guru Maharaj?" So Madhudvisha Prabhu informed Srila Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, we are doing it in the evening time. Because afternoon, today is a weekday, afternoon nobody will come, people will have difficulty. So we have postponed to evening time." Srila Prabhupada became like a lion, like Ugra Narsimha. Right? He chastised them very heavily, saying that, "How dare you postpone like that? You know, appearance and disappearance days are celebrated in the noon time." Right? So, Prabhupada got up and then he prepared feast for his Guru Maharaj. Then they did the Pushpanjali and all that. So, Narayan Prabhu, he was describing this pastime, that day Srila Prabhupada kept all his love in that prasada, in that food, bhoga, all his love for his spiritual master. That when they after that, when they served the plate to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was very angry. He did not take prasad. Then he told all of them, because you committed offense, I will do fast. Like that. And then they all took prasad. The khichdi, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta likes, that they said, it is out of nectar, it is like complete nectar. So everybody was served in their plates. Each and every grain, they ate. And they were just, licking the plates. It's like they all felt, Prabhupada put all his love for his spiritual master in that food, especially the khichdi, like that. So Srila Prabhupada said, we have nowadays in ISKCON, we had this tendency for the sake of congregation, they perform all this Abhishek and all on the weekends instead of on the festivals, which was not at all approved by Srila Prabhupada. Right? All of you take this note. This is completely out of sync, Prabhupada did not like. So then they all understood how much love Srila Prabhupada had for his spiritual master. So every time Srila Prabhupada would mention his name of his spiritual master, right? Prabhupada would have tears in his eyes. Srila Prabhupada said, my spiritual master had a lot of affection for me, like that. So he's not an ordinary soul. They say, in the aftermath of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's disappearance from this world, for 300 years, there was so much hodgepodge was there in Vaishnavism. Everybody was thinking, Vaishnavism is for scoundrels and fools. So many Sahajiya sects have erupted like that. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur resurrected that movement of Lord Chaitanya. Then when he was a magistrate, and then he was in charge of also Jagannath temple. So that time he prayed to Lord Jagannath. That I am becoming old, then I am bound by so many other things. So please send me a very powerful son, who can actually spread this Krishna consciousness movement. So on the 6th day after he was born, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was born in Jagannath Puri. So when the Rath Yatra was coming, so when they kept that boy in front of Lord Jagannath, the garland from Lord Jagannath, fell around the neck of that boy. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur understood, so this is the son I am praying for. He's ray of Vishnu, like that. So he trained him accordingly. He had many other sons also, daughters also. But he understood that, Then because by the mercy of Bimala Devi, he got the boy. That's why he kept his name as Bimal Prasad. Right? Bimal Prasad. Later on, he trained him like that. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was Jatasmara. Jatasmara means Ekasanta Graha. Means once he used to study, he would remember after 50 years also, all the passages. Passages, he would remember. So Srila Prabhupada told, my Guru Maharaj is walking encyclopedia. He's a walking encyclopedia. Like that. At the age of 6, he memorized all 700 verses of Bhagavad-gita along with the meanings. Then he would explain everything. Like that. Once, one Gosai, one Baba, he came to visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Then he did not offer, that boy, he was 6-year-old boy, he didn't offer obeisance to that boy, that sadhu, so-called sadhu. Then he was very upset. Your son is very impudent, he didn't offer me obeisances. Then he said, my son doesn't offer obeisance to a sahajiya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's initiating guru, Bipin Bihari Goswami, once he came to visit Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he offered obeisance to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur offered obeisance to Bipin Bihari Goswami. He kept his so-called lotus feet on the head of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He was 6-year-old boy at that time. He chastised him, saying that, do you know who is my father in Golok Vrindavan? Do you have capacity to keep your feet on his head? He chastised him. Then he said, your son is very impudent. Like that he was, right from the childhood he was like that. Right? Later on, all of you heard so many times how he got initiation from Shri Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. Right? I don't want to repeat again. So, then Srila Prabhupada, Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur trained him, how to print books. Brahat Mridanga. Brahat Mridanga. So, he was very expert in printing and writing essays. Then there was when in his youth, they formed a Brahmachari Sangha, some like that. There are so many initially. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was the only one who remained Brahmachari throughout his life. Then all others, they got married. Like that. So, he learned Sanskrit. Then he was very expert in astrology, then astronomy. That's why he was given the name Siddhanta Saraswati. Siddhanta Saraswati. On January 2nd, 1900, in Kolkata, there was a professor in Benares University who was opposing Vedic astrology and astronomy. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had a fight with him. Then there was a public debate in one hall in Kolkata on January 2nd in 1900. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was so vociferous in arguing and defeating that very famous professor of Benares University, who had many thousands of followers. And that man passed urine and stool in his dhoti in front of everybody. Then after that, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta took a compassion. Then he said, from now onwards, I am not going to argue with anybody. He was like lion, He was like lion. Then later on, he then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he constructed Bhakti Bhavan. Right? Fortunately, that Bhakti Bhavan was now ISKCON temple, The ISKCON people, they have acquired that place like that. So, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was assisting Bhaktivinoda Thakur at the time, there is this Goswami, he concocted a new mantra. Nitai Gaur Radheshyam, Hare Krishna Hare Ram. You know this? If you go to Haridas Thakur Samadhi, they chant this, Nitai Gaur Radheshyam, Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a very famous personality at the time, and then many sadhus, they used to come to meet him. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur publicly opposed this kind of sahajiyas and concoctions. And there was a huge fight and debate between Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. At the time he was a very young boy, and all these so-called Goswamis and Babajis of Jagannath Puri. And then, to the shock of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, all the public supported that Gosai, that Baba. Right? So he was very disheartened. Then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur chastised Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and instructed him, you go to Navadvip and do bhajan, Mayapur and do bhajan. Right? So, that time Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur took a vow to chant, I think 10 crore names. So, if you go to Sri Chaitanya Mat, even now, that place is there. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would eat like a dog. He won't eat with his hands. He would eat like a dog. They would keep the food on the floor, and then he would eat like a dog. And then continuously chant. Like that. Though all of us, who want to preach Krishna consciousness, we should prepare like this. Right? Now in ISKCON, we see so many big preachers, they fall down. Why? Because enough sadhana was not good. They didn't do sadhana properly. And then simply preaching, and then you attract people, then you will become proud. Then you think that I am such a great preacher. Then dumb. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and Srila Prabhupada, Mula Prakriti Mataji, she wrote a book, our dear friend Srila Prabhupada. So in that book, she met all the people who knew Prabhupada before he went to US. Right? All the people in Vrindavan. She read a lot of very beautiful book, our friend Srila Prabhupada. Our dear friend Srila Prabhupada. Mula Prakriti Mataji. Somebody can read that book. I have that book. So in that, all the devotees whom she met in Vrindavan, one thing they told, Baba is always chanting. He's always chanting. That was a lifetime in preparation. Prabhupada was always chanting. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta always chanting. Crores of names he chanted. Then Rupa Goswami. Then meanwhile, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Sri Gaurkeshadas Maharaj left their bodies. So he was very, very grief-stricken. Then feeling separation from their spiritual masters. Then Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, all the Goswamis, they appeared to him in his dream and implored him, you go to Calcutta and preach. Enough, preach. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he replied, I am very good in writing, I am very good in lecturing, but I am not good in managing and collecting money. Right? Then Rupa Goswami assured him, you don't worry, we will send men and resources and manpower to you, they will assist you. Like that. Then he started, then he took sannyas in front of the photograph of Srila Gaurkeshadas Babaji Maharaj. Because he did not consider anybody qualified at the time. Like other day Mukund Mahaprabhu was giving class, he was narrating how Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, while cremating the body, doing samadhi of his spiritual master, he asked, last 6 months, those who practiced brahmacharya, those who did not break, they can come and touch. Nobody came forward. And then last 3 months, nobody came forward. Last 1 month, nobody came forward. The last 1 day, still nobody came forward. So he thought nobody is qualified. Then he took sannyas. Like that. We should not imitate. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta can do that. Now I know some of the guys, devotees, they are also keeping, Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj's photo and taking sannyas. That is not, proper. So, so he took sannyas. Then there is one person, Umapati. Later on, I will tell some things, they can edit now. Umapati, he came to meet he was a postal clerk, a clerk in postal department. He came to meet Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj explained a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kama Sakala Ashanta, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Atayeva Santa, like that. So later on, in Yogpit, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was giving lecture. He went to meet him. He went to meet him. So he heard the lecture. Then this Umapati, he was initiated by Jat Gosai, but he used to hate Vaishnavism because he said it is all scoundrels and all. But when he heard Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's lecture, he was greatly impressed. Greatly impressed. And he started chatting conversing with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was very vociferously criticizing, Murgi mission people. Murgi mission. Like yesterday, Mukunwal was saying, Daridra Narayan Seva, Manav Seva, Madhav Seva. Like that. Prabhupada said, they serve Daridra Narayana and they eat Murgi Narayana. You can edit later on. Yeah. Before it went on, recently there was a reel, all of them eating meat, mutton, some sadhus, like that. So, at that time, he was revering these two guys a lot, Umapati. He became very offended. He became very offended. And then he went back, saying that how we can criticize them like that. Then later on, but there was a lot of impression left on him by, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta teachings. And again he came. Again he came. And then again Srila Bhaktisiddhanta pondered them. Again he was upset and then he went. Like that. But he was unable to forget his teachings. Then finally he said, okay, let me go. He took 2 months leave and then he came to Mayapur. Then he started staying with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, like that. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati Thakur, he blessed him. Right? Then finally he became completely converted to Krishna consciousness, like that. So he was very expert in managing the mutt. Very expert in collecting money. He is very expert in meeting big people and arranging lectures for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur gave him the name Kunju Bihari Das. Kunju Bihari Das. Everybody used to call him Kunjuda. Kunjuda. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Ultadanga temple, he opened Gaudi Mutt. I think 80 rupees rent, house rent, that rent at that time. This Kunja Bihari Das Prabhu used to give half of the rent. Then all other disciples, they used to struggle to collect money for other half. So initially Kunjada, he was reluctant because he was a government officer. Some ego he had. So he was unable to approach people. Initially he was reluctant to approach people. He was taking personal loans and managing Gaudi Mutt, Ultadanga Gaudi Mutt at that time. He was collecting. And then it became so burdensome at one point of time that he didn't want to tell even his Guru Maharaj also that so much, he was taking so many loans. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was very busy collecting, preaching and writing and, preaching and all that, like that. Then in 1920 May, he left, he got a good job in Iraq, Basra, without telling Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So at that time, he was actually, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was arranging a huge preaching program in Kolkata, depending on Kunja Biharida. Then he came to know that Kunjada left for Iraq without telling anybody. Because if he tells his Guru Maharaj, he will object. Like that. Then he left. When Srila Bhaktisiddhanta came to know, he was very, very grief-stricken. Said, then he wrote a letter to him, said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Sanatana Goswami some mission. One is reclaiming the last holy places, writing books on devotion, establishing, scriptures, and then establishing Madan Mohan temple, like that. All of you should follow the principles of Sanatana Goswami and preach. Don't do any other activities which are, differential to devotional service. So then, please, wherever you are, be attached to Hari Kirtan. Then you will understand that ultimate thing in this world is Hari Kirtan. Hari Kirtan. And in 1921, again he came back. Right? So at that time, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was preaching in Dhaka. So on 30 days, all of you remember, right? And he gave lecture on 30 days on Janmadhyasyataha. Right? So there. So on 30th day, Kunjada appeared in Dhaka. There, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta got down from his Vyasasana and chest to chest embraced him very tightly, and both of them started crying. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta started crying. Like that. So he was he said, you live in my heart. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, you live in my heart. I'm always praying for you. I'll be very happy if I can see you again physically. Otherwise, I am mentally seeing you all the time. Like that, he wrote a letter to like that. After that, he took charge and then he started meeting big people. Then under his guidance, Bhakti, Gaudiya Math acquired many properties, all that. So he helped him a lot in preaching, like that. Right? Then it expanded, the Gaudiya Math expanded exponentially. Right? Then there are, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, they were digging the place in Yogpit, in Yogpit. They found a Vishnu deity form, in the deity they found. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was very, very pleased. Then they said, this is Adokshaja Vishnu. Adokshaja Vishnu. Like that. Then he was, then he established Sri Chaitanya Math. And then he built a beautiful temple in Yogpit. Right? And then Varaha temple is there. I think Narsimha temple is there. I think Varaha Narsimha temple. Right? And then Gaur Gadadhar, behind. And then they built all this, all this, so much. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, during his time, the Mayapur Dham, he said, my father used to say that all the ingredients, the water in Mayapur, the food grains in Mayapur, fruits in Mayapur, if somebody accepts them, right, they will get the inclination to do service to the Vaishnavas and the Dham. Like that, like that. So that's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta wanted people to come, and only especially during Gaura Purnima especially, and people come. So at that time, the place was in a very bad shape. At the time, the place was in very bad shape. Like, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is the one who reclaimed all the pastime places and constructed a Bhaktisiddhanta Sarani, that road, Holur Ghat, Saraswati, Jalangi Nadi up to, Chaitanya Mat. He is the one who constructed to stop the flooding from the Ganges, like that. So, anyway, so like this, so many, so much preaching he had done. There are many prominent disciples were there, right? So, of all the prominent disciples, our Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, he is the most dear to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. When Prabhupada was a Grahastha, when he used to go to the Gaudi Mat, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he had, at that time, all Brahmins, they are very prominent scholars, Brahmins, Sanskrit Pandits, all Brahmins, all his sannyasis are big Brahmins, born in great Brahmin families, Orissa and Bengal. And they are also a sort of proud also there, that they have got Vidvat, like scholarship, like that. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, once he was sitting with his sannyasi disciples and discussing something. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was a Grahastha, Abhay Babu, they used to call him Abhay Babu. He was walking, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur recognized Ahat, the sound of footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. Then immediately he said, Abhay Babu has come. I need to discuss with him something. All of you go. So he told all the sannyasi disciples to go out of the room. Go out of the room. Then they are all struck, we are all sannyasi scholars. What is he speaking with a grahastha, kacha grahastha, and they used to, businessman, like that, right? Once in Champahati, Nayanananda was, he was explaining. In Champahati, there was a union of a meeting of all Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's disciples. There is a photograph also. All the disciples of, prominent disciples, sannyasi disciples in the front, and then all the grahastha disciples behind. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was sitting and speaking all the prominent disciples. And then Srila Prabhupada also was there. And then behind Nayanananda Babaji Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada was standing. Then somebody asked Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, who will preach Krishna consciousness all over the world? Prithvi yate nagaradigram sarvatra prachar hayramana. Who will make this? Somebody will do it. Then he was actually scanning all the disciples. All the disciples. And then he fixed his gaze at one person, one personality. Nayanananda Babaji Maharaj thought he was looking at me. I said, I'm going to do it. Then he had a doubt. He's not looking at me. Then he turned back. Our Prabhupada was standing there. Then both spiritual master and the disciple, they are exchanging a knowing smile, glances, smiles. Then, and that time only he understood. This Krishna consciousness movement, preaching, will be spread by Srila Prabhupada. Right? I will tell a story of, two disciples. Once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he was speaking on Bhagavad-gita lecture in Kolkata. Mai sarvani karmani sannyasya-adhyatma chetasa nirmamo nirahankaro yudyasva vigata jvara. Nirasir nirmamo bhutva, yudhyasya vegata jvara. This is third chapter, 30th verse, I think. Prabhupada said, essence of Bhagavad-gita is given in this verse. Srila Prabhupada wrote in the purport. Right? So, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta gave the lecture on this shloka. Then, dedicating all your activities to me, my sarvani karmani, sanyasya adhyatma chetasa, giving up the fruits of your, nirasir, without any material desires. Nirmamo, becoming free from, ahankara, yudhyasva, vigatajvara, giving up lethargy, fight Arjuna. This is the meaning of this verse. Prabhupada wrote a beautiful purport to this shloka. Go back and read, third chapter. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had this habit of any questions. Then one person rose his hand. So how to apply this verse practically in our life? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta asked, what do you do? He said, what is your name? He asked. He said, Nishikant Sanyal. My name is Nishikant Sanyal. I am a professor in the university. A history professor he is. He is a very dear friend of Srila Prabhupada. Then he said, okay, you get salary at the end of your month? Give that salary to me. Give that salary to me. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta forgot. Then at the end of the month, this gentleman brought that money, 800 rupees. Kitna? 800 rupees in 1920s. Very big money, 800 rupees. All the money he gave it to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. All the money. Then he gave, then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was shocked. Huh? Then he called his wife. He said, how much you spend it at home? Then he used to give 200 rupees. Every month, he used to bring all the salary to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Then every month, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to purchase groceries and give it to the home. And then when his daughter grown up, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta performed the marriage. In Amrita Bajar Patrika, they published a news article. Founder of Srila Gaudiya Math, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta performed the marriage of his disciple, daughter of his disciple, with pomp and gaiety. It was there. It was published like that. Then he was Bhakti Sudhakar, Narayan Das, Bhakti Sudhakar. He gave the name, Bhakti Sudhakar. Very great devotee. He once, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, I think, he wanted to publish Bhakti Rasam Sindhu or something, one book. He gave all this jewelry of his wife. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta objected, no, already you are giving so much. Hare, kya hai? So, they used to tell him, why don't you join full time, why don't you join full time? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, he is more than a sannyasi. Don't, you don't have to propel him like that. He was like that. Anyway, there is so Srila Prabhupada and this Bhakti Sudhakar Prabhu, they were chosen to invite Viceroy when he came, you remember? He in sometime in, he came, So Viceroy came because both are educated disciples, English, well versed in English. They were chosen to invite Viceroy like that. So Srila Bhakti, there is one more disciple, his name is Jagabandhu. When he was a small boy, one huge air came and hit his ears. Then he became deaf like that, and he was very poverty stricken. So at the age of 16, he started working in some grocery shop, and then coupled with his sickness and all, then his parents have died, so very poverty stricken. He wanted to commit suicide by consuming opium. Every time, 2-3 times, he tried to commit suicide. 2-3, his relatives have saved him. Then he said, they are not allowing me to die, I will go to Kolkata and die. He took 14 rupees and went to Kolkata, came to Kolkata. Then somehow or other he changed his mind and he started working in some shop. And slowly, initially he used to only drink Ganga water, Ganges water, and then eat chickpeas and survive. Then somehow or other he started. Then he opened a Jagabandhu Das, JBD Inks, small factory. Then by the mercy of the Lord, he became very rich. Right? He became very, very rich. Then suddenly, somehow he got an opportunity to attend a lecture by Kunjuda, in Gaudimat, Ultadanga. So he became very impressed. Then on the bank of Ganges, he built a palatial building, palace, house. Then he married twice. He married twice. But he was a very sick man, highly diabetic. At one point of time, his leg was supposed to be cut, amputated, like that. But somehow or other he survived. But he was always a very sick man. His legs are not working properly. 1926, when he came to Kunjada, after 5 years of associating with him, Jagabandhu revealed that he is a very rich businessman. Because he said, I was testing you, because I know that all the Vaishnavas are scoundrels, simply after money of rich people, but you are all very genuine. I am a very rich man, like that. Wow. And then, anyway, I forgot to, I will. This Bhaktisiddhanta, once he met, Subhash Chandra Bose's father. I forgot this, some Bose. He is a very, very famous lawyer in Cuttack. He is a very, very famous lawyer in Cuttack. That time they used to, in Juhu, in Gaudimat, they were collecting, Madhukari, monthly donations. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhu went to meet Mr. Bose. He said, please give monthly donation. He was a very proud man, Bengali and very educated, big, famous lawyer. He said, whatever you are giving, I will give double of that amount. Acha? Then Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhu told, I am giving 800 rupees. You have to give 1600 rupees. That Bose, fell unconscious. But vachan ka pakke log this time. They used to give. He was very fond of eating fish. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta used to said, okay, I will send you Amrit from our Gaudimat every day. Give up eating fish. So every day Raj Bhoga Prasad used to go to Mr. Bose's house. That's how he gave up. Anyway, like that. I just, sorry. I forgot. It's a very important thing. Then this Jagabandhu Das, he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur in Puri. And when he first met and then he heard his lectures, he was maha impressed, greatly impressed. He said, wow, I found my spiritual master. Then immediately he got initiated. Bhakti Ranjan. He is a very rich man. If you go to Bagbajar temple, he is the one who built the temple. He is the one who built the temple. And then, there is no account, even now, till now, nobody knew how much he spent. How much he spent. He said everything should be marble. So Kunjada used to tell, give the report, how much you are spending, what is your plan? Then he used to start, why are you spending so much money? Then Jagabandhu Das used to cry, started crying it seems. You are not allowing me to serve my spiritual master? What is your problem? Like that, So, one day before, 1930, I think January or something, one day before inauguration of the temple, Jagabandhu at that time, he worked very hard, even though doctors advised him not to strain physically. So he used to stand near the construction site and then oversee everything. And then if the design is not good or something, he would again tell them to reconstruct, dismantle. Like that he spent so much money. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, then he became very sick one day before. Then he started shouting, Kunjada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Saraswati, Guru Maharaj, like that. And then, to the shock of everybody, both of them appeared. Right? So both of them appeared. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and Kunjada, in front of them, he left his body. He left his body. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur taken the body inside the temple. Inside the temple, and did parikrama and all. Then they performed last rites. So he is the one, right? Anyway, later on, after so much, it became so rich, the temple, everybody started fighting. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, ever since I got this building, everybody was fighting. This is my office, this is my office. There will be a fire, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta predicted. There will be fire. Like that. Anyway, there are so much nectar to tell, but they asked me to. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told that my Guru Maharaj and my father, both are manjaris, they revealed. Right? There is one more disciple, very prominent disciple, Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu. Very great scholar. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur used to say the first line of the verse, then Ananta Vasudeva used to finish that lecture, verse. So expert. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur's language was so difficult to understand. Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu used to hear. Then all the disciples, they would come and ask Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu, we didn't understand what our Guru Maharaj was speaking. Can you explain? Then Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu used to explain. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu said, I challenge Maya to capture me because I have taken shelter of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta so strongly that I challenge Maya. After that, what happened, we don't know. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, after he left, he started doubting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Then he got married. Then Srila Prabhupada told, his wife was having affair with someone else. And then their son, Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu's son had saw. And then that wife and that paramour, both of them killed the son. And Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu became like a madman. I don't know what happened. So there is a fight, there used to be a fight between Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu and, then Kunj Bihari Prabhu. So Kunj Bihari Prabhu, he was very good in collecting. Ananta Vasudeva Prabhu, great scholar. And they used to have a fight like that. So one day they found out that Kunj Bihari Prabhu was stealing money. Prabhupada also told. Right? So he was accumulating money. He was educating people in lawyer. So that, after Srila Bhaktisiddhanta would leave, he would fight for the properties of the, like that. Srila Prabhupada said, some people were fighting for property, so they got property. But some people, one disciple, he was actually, fighting for the legacy of his teaching, preaching. I got it. So that legacy of preaching, given it to Srila Prabhupada. All the properties they got. Anyway, but she is a very great man. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta, his name was Prabhupada Preshta. Kunj Bihari Prabhu was given. Prabhupada, very dear to, we should not find fault. But Srila Prabhupada was, anyway, we should not go into it. Then, once they made a party. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he was born in a very great, Brahmin family, very great scholar. One day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was, strolling. He saw the kundali of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj lying. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur saw the kundali and read the kundali. Then he said, you are a great scholar, but you will never become famous. You don't attract people. Like that, Bhakti. So Prabhupada was Bhakti, they are very great friends. So they had chosen a Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, to be, to go to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and they made a complete account, corruption details of Kunjada, and wanted to present to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, complaining against Kunjada. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj went to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, very afraid, slowly. So said, Bhaktisiddhanta asked, what for you came? Aisa. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur became very angry like lion. Then he said, did you come to practice sadhana and go back to Godhead? Or you came here to do credit and debit balance sheet? If he's stealing money, that is his salary. If I appointed if he's such an expert manager, if I appoint a manager, I have to pay him anyway. He's managing nicely. Do your devotional service and go back to Godhead. Don't worry about that. That's he became very scared and then ran away like a lamb. Like that. So in ISKCON also we should study, whatever may happen, this is my own experience. Prabhupada has given us a fantastic facility to simply practice Krishna consciousness and go back to Godhead. Right? We should not worry so much. This is happening, that is happening. Ye aisa kiya, wo aisa kiya. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, we should not worry. We have a perfect platform. Every day, I can do arati. Every day I am hearing class. Every day I can read Bhagavatam. Right? I don't have to work or go outside and work. Right? Such a facility is there. If somebody is stealing, mere ko kya hai? Right? So Srila Prabhupada told Ram Raksha, somebody, one Telugu devotee, Prabhupada disciple, this is Germany, he told, let all these foreigners fight for posts and all. You Indians practice Krishna consciousness, get Krishna Prema and go back to Godhead. Anyway, this is the teaching, like that. Anyway, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, I want to, Saraswati Thakur, he is Ananta Vasudev Prabhu. He got a dream that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was a Nayananda Mani Manjari. Nayananda Mani Manjari. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's Swarupa. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he laughed. Then he said, he kept quiet. So it was, so anyway, so many things, so much nectar. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj had done a great service by printing those books, Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava. I request all the devotees to read those books. So much nectar is there. So, I can't tell. I'll close by saying that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, so a step-brother was there, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's first wife's son. He was working in post office. He became mentally little bit disturbed. He never got married. And in his last days in Mayapur, he was lying on the bed. And there is a halchal, there is a sound. Right? And then this, I think, Vishnu Prasad or some Prasad, his name, he saw Vishnu Dutas, making noise. Then he said, oh, Vishnu Dutas have come, I am going. So before that, his Gaudiya Tilak changed into Sri Vaishnava Tilak. Right? Then he told that Bimal Prasad, because some of these brothers, they were not liking Srila Bhaktisiddhanta for his staunch, opinions, very strict, Then he said, Bimal Prasad, he is not an ordinary soul. He is not an ordinary soul. He is sent by Lord Vishnu. Then he told, in my last life, I was a Sri Vaishnava. Because I demeaned, is correct word? Demeaned. Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, saying that Shiva Vaishnavism is the highest. I committed an offense, aparad. That's why I had to take birth. That's why, because of that aparad, I became mentally sick. Now, under the guidance of Srila Bhakti, our father, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I got everything, all that offense is gone. Now I am going back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So he gave this certificate, Bimal Prasad, Bhaktisiddhanta. He's not a. So then before he left his body, he told one of his disciples that to arrange salt and all that samagri that is required for samadhi. So Srila Prabhupada said, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was fed up because of the infighting between then he predicted that there will be a fire in Bagh Bazaar. Then Srila Prabhupada told him, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur told Prabhupada, whenever you get money, print books, preach Krishna consciousness in English language. Right? So Srila Prabhupada actually carried the message of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Then he had so much love for his spiritual master. Whenever he would mention his name, he would get tears in his eyes, Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada told, on the appearance and disappearance day of Acharyas, they are extraordinarily merciful. They become extraordinarily merciful. So we should pray for their mercy. So today, on the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, let us all pray that we get. He was very staunch, Apasiddhanta, So Srila Prabhupada also, he was very staunch. He used to forgive people if they had committed some illicit sex and all that. But Prabhupada would never forgive people, devotees, who are deviating from the philosophy. He would not say if somebody is committing illicit sex, but he would chastise them, very heavily. And he removed 4 sannyasis from ISKCON because they are saying Prabhupada is God. He was very vociferous. Like that, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was very strict. Apasiddhanta, very strict, like that. So he's very, very great lion guru. So many pastimes are there. So we have very short time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Tirobhav Titi ki. Gaur Premanande. Please come every day, everyone. 12:20 Pushpanjali. Hare Krishna.